Hi. Shan, you're in the hot seat tonight, Shan. Come on.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Cheeseroom podcast. Today we're going to be reviewing the Leeds game, which conveniently I didn't see, and and previewing the Borough game tomorrow. Joining me tonight, as always, it's our European correspondent. Is there anything he doesn't know? HG.
There are lots of things I don't know, but I suppose you're still in Europe, you guys. The idea that I'm somehow on the mainland makes me different, but no, I'm good. Spurs won. It's Pancake Day tomorrow, right? Think so.
Subject HG.
Oh, okay. Well, over here we have what they call Krapfen, like big donuts, and I'm excited for Donut Day tomorrow. I love Donut Day far too much. And Spurs will play as well. So, yeah, I'm doing well.
So not only do I actually miss Pancake Day because I'm going to Borough, but I sent Jack to get some key ingredients to do Pancake Day tonight. And two things I asked for, he didn't get.
So it was a list of 3 things as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Touchy subject for me. And a big welcome back to Brad. It's been a while since we've had you on. How are you doing?
Hi, Shan. Hello, HG. Yeah, I'm doing really, really, really good. It's weird doing the show on a Monday night. I'm used to doing it on a Friday night with a beer in my hand, but it's all soft drinks tonight. So
yeah, me too. Actually, even on a Monday, usually I have a gin, but I think it would send me off. It would send me off tonight. So soft drink it is.
It's also the football is also pub night tomorrow night, so I'll be having a few beers at the pub watching the football. So
we have our first comment of the evening from Dawson 17 or Dorso N17. I'm not quite sure how that would work, but yeah, Shan, it is out there. When you don't win, so when you don't go or you don't watch, we win, and vice versa. But no, tomorrow night it's not going to happen again, is it, Shan?
It can't happen again, can it? Surely.
I don't think so. I mean, Spurs, but no, I don't think so.
Law of averages, Shane. Law of averages.
The last couple of times I've been, we have lost, but my average is pretty good. I've seen us win more than I've seen us lose, so fingers crossed. There's quite a big East Midlands Spurs contingent going tomorrow night, so hopefully that brings us a bit of luck. But yeah, it can't happen again, surely. If it does, then even I'm going to start believing it. So, right, football prizes.
There we go. There's your banner, Shan.
Thank you. Right on cue, HG. So at the minute we've got the Jurgen Klinsmann signed custom framed Spurs shirt. For normal people, tickets cost $4.95, but with our code POD10, you get 10% off, and I believe patrons get an additional.
I think it's 3 for 2. You can get 3 for 2, so you end up paying what, £4 or £8 for 3 tickets. So if you become a Patreon, then you get that little extra too. But yeah, as it says, tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. So just before the game starts, pretty much you can find out if you've won the Klinsmann shirt, and then you can go and watch Spurs. So Tuesday night's the best night for it.
We hope. We hope. Midweek. It's when I go midweek, it always goes wrong. It seems to be midweek games.
Stop saying it. Stop saying it.
Fingers crossed. It's all good. Right. So on to Leeds. We've got the starting lineup. So obviously we had Lloris, Doherty, Romero, Dyer, Davies, Cess, Højbjerg, Winks, Kulusevski, Son, and Kane. What did you think of that, HG, that lineup?
How many changes was it? Was it just Doherty? No, Winks. Yeah, Winks came in for Bentancur, didn't he? I think we all thought it was going to be, 3-4-3. So if Doherty over Royal, I think was a decent change, because we know that Royal was not great at attacking, and Winks was pretty much the only option left when Bentancur was injured. So I think it was pretty obvious that we were going to have something in this area. But I think looking at the bench was nice to see Harvey White there and Alfie Devine as well. More likely to come on than Joe Rodon, so that itself is good. But yeah, I mean, the worst thing about that is the kit. I still hate that kit.
I love it.
There's nothing Spurs about that kit. I know that shouldn't matter. It doesn't matter to a lot of people, but it's just the green and the pink and the purple. It's just grim, absolutely grim.
It looked blue on the telly. It looked absolutely blue on the telly. I was actually quite surprised when I saw a picture and hang on, it's purple. It looked blue. Well, maybe it's just my telly. Maybe I had it on cinema mode or something.
Oh, your eyes, Brad.
Oh my God, it could be, yeah.
What did you think of the lineup?
I think, it was pretty much as expected. I think we needed a reaction after Burnley.
We don't talk about Burnley.
Well, no, but Bentancur was injured, so weeks for Bentancur is probably what you'd happen. And we knew that we were going to have chances to attack Leeds, and Doherty is probably better player than Emerson in that role. And also Emerson had a couple of poor games. Although he played quite well against City, but attacking wise, I think we need to put Doherty in. And really, that lineup is pretty close to our strongest 11 at the moment, I would argue.
Yeah, except Bentancur in for week.
That's
the obvious one. But honestly, when he went down in the first half against Burnley, I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to see him for a while. Heartbreak all around.
So is it 3 weeks for Bentancur, which will probably mean 6 if Skip's anything to go by?
Yeah.
What is wrong with Ollie? I mean, it was a couple of weeks, and suddenly it feels like it's been a month since the international break started again. I mean, since we had the last one.
Yeah, I heard he had an infection. He had a groin injury, but then that got infected, so that's added the extra time. That's what I've heard. So, I think in the press conference today, Conte was saying that he's about to come back to training. So that I would imagine would be about 2 or 3 weeks before we see him.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a good thing for us when Skip comes back, because it just gives us an option with Højbjerg as well. Although Højbjerg seems to be coming back into some sort of form, which is positive. It's good for me, so everyone can stop the slander that I've had to listen to for the whole season, basically. But anyway, we got off to the perfect start. Doherty giving us the lead. When I was sat in the hairdressers and I saw it, I could not believe it. Could have been a goal down before that. Another header at a set piece, which I know nothing about. HD, tell me.
Yeah, that's right. They had a free kick, I think, down our right hand side, and it came in, and it was Struik. I don't know the Dutch guy they've got. Pretty much a free header from 8 yards out. Should have done better. I think it was. I thought it was going to nestle in the far corner, and when it didn't, I was pretty happy. But we don't look great from set pieces, and we always know with Spurs, if that goes in, Leeds have got their confidence up, and Spurs will, we don't do too well. Especially, no one likes to concede early goals, but considering the results that we've had recently, losing at Burnley and then losing twice at home before that, you would worry about Spurs if that went in. But it was, thankfully, I mean, I don't rate Struik at all, so I'm happy that he missed. But not just because I don't rate him, but still, it's that would have been a problem had it gone in.
There's a theory that Spurs don't. It takes Conte a week to teach tactics for a game. And obviously, we had a week before the Man City game, and tactically it worked perfectly. And then we only had 2 or 3 days for Burnley, where you got to adjust your tactics. And I think on Saturday, it's a good performance by Tottenham. Don't get me wrong, but we were in a way lucky that we were playing Leeds, who would give us those chances to exploit their high press and that. But you got to take the win. You got to celebrate the win. Celebrate the win like it's your last. Or your team's last, should I say?
Well, when it's Spurs, that sadly is possible, I think.
No. Like 4-0, yeah, you're right. 4-0, we've got to celebrate that, because that we may not see again this season. But 4-0 away from home, yeah, I mean, those games never happened when I was a kid. Like, the idea that Spurs would ever win 4-0 away from home is weird. The fact that we did it, in a Premier League game, yeah, I'm happy about that.
Did you worry, HG and Shan? Did you worry at 3-0 that if they got a goal, it's like, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I was only certain of victory when the fourth went in.
To be fair, I've been saying for a while, before every game, we've been due a big win. We've been because we haven't had one this season. We always get 1 or 2 big wins in a season.
Yeah.
But I just weren't expecting it to come at Leeds away. But thankfully, it has. And we've had our first convincing win of the season, I'd say. Brad, Chris Waddle and Darren Anderton had slow starts to their Tottenham careers. Is this the Doherty resurrection?
Well, it's the same old thing, isn't it? With players like Doherty, players like Davis, players like Winks, the players that get all the criticism, they have a good game. It's that's it. That's how they're going to be. But they've got to be consistent. So Doherty, as you know, if he plays tomorrow, I don't know, it might be rotation, but if he plays in the next few games, he's got to play good again. Now, in a way, you could feel a little bit sorry for him, but he hasn't really had that chance to play as a proper attacking wing back and do what he does, which is score the goals, which he used to do at Wolves. So I think, yeah, it's easy to get carried away with one performance, as it is with the team. We're back. We've had so many. That's it. We've turned the corner now. We've had such a lot of that this season. We beat Leicester away. We've turned the corner. We've got winning mentality. Then it all went pear-shaped. We beat Man City away. That's it. We've turned the corner. We got winning mentality. Then we met Burnley. Ironically, Doherty actually played for a bit against Leicester, and he played on Leeds on Saturday. But yeah, I hope he does, because there's definitely a player there, and certainly attacking-wise, he's got a better idea than Emerson. But then, to be fair to Emerson, and I don't agree with all this hatred that Emerson seems to get. No, he's not a great player, but I think there's potential there. But obviously, Emerson's not really played in that sort of attacking role, whereas Doherty has. So you'd hope that if Doherty can produce that sort of form for the rest of the season, that we've got a decent sort of right wing back, which is what Conte wants. In fact, Conte said in the press conference today or after the Leeds game rather, that's the first time he's seen his system work, which was the wing backs providing for the other wing back to score. And it happened with Doherty's goal. So hopefully.
You'd think that Conte would then realise that perhaps Doherty had something to do with the fact that it worked.
We've
talked. I mean, we've talked plenty of times about how Emerson just doesn't look going forward. Like, I think if we'd spent 30 million euros on Doherty and 15 million on Royal, everyone would be like, okay, well, that makes a bit more sense.
Yeah.
But it was the other way around, and you're right, Doherty. Like, he took that goal fantastically well. Like, I think some would have taken a touch and tried to find the corner, but the fact he hit it first time, no messing, and the only way the keeper's going to save it is if it hits the keeper. When you hit it that hard from that far out, so it was a lovely goal. Even Winks to begin with, gets the ball under pressure, but moves away from the man that's trying to mark him, finds the pass for Sessegnon. I mean, it was very, very easy. But we made it look simple, which is not what Spurs do. So the first goal was good.
It was brilliant. And also, he had Sessegnon actually having the confidence to take it to the byline and cross it. And he's been playing safe. And, I think it's Ali Gold today saying, well, maybe he's worried about his hamstring injury that he had. And that's why he doesn't go for it. But, that will give him confidence. That will give Doherty confidence, especially coming that early in the game as well. Something going right for you that early in the game, and then you've got to build on that. But as it's been all season, there's promising signs there, but they've got to be consistent. And that starts tomorrow at Middlesbrough.
We hope. I am there, so don't get your hopes up too much. Then Leeds hit the post, HG.
They did, yeah. I think it was 2-0 by the time they hit the post. I'm not sure, but So like the chance they had. I don't want to say it was fortunate, but I feel like the ball just kind of fell to him as he was running towards goal, and he side-footed it against the post. I mean, Hugo was beaten; it could have easily rolled into the bottom corner, and it would have been 2-1. But we should forget that. Let's talk about the second goal, right, Brad? You've seen it. Oh no, Chan's seen it too. But
I've got an admission to make here. I have seen it, but I have an admission to make now. Was that I was making a cup of coffee, and the kettle boiled. I went down to the kitchen, and I'm going. Oh, great. Oh, and I heard the crowd cheer. We've scored, rushed up, and so I missed the actual goal live. But then when I saw it,
you were doing what the Leeds defence was doing then.
Making a cup of tea.
Yeah, I mean, they were hopeless. And he got a bit of luck. But no, he took that, as Merson would say, with a plum. He just really, that was a perfect shot. And it surprised the keeper because he would have thought it would have gone the other side. But no, it was. And Kulachensky is a very strong player. Seems very determined. I think he's built for the Premiership. He's got that physical side to him. And I mean, I'm a bit worried about his right foot, but his left foot is good.
Well, he's already outdoing Lo Celso in almost every area, and he's played 5 games. He's also almost outstatting Jack Grealish since he signed for City, which I think is absolutely hilarious. So, Cooler Sexy, eat your heart out. HD, you were banging the Cooler Sexy drum in the summer. Is he another symbol of your all-knowingness? Will you stare up if the masses dare question him?
So like when it came to, I think it was Friday's show where Caller came out and basically said that in front of everyone, I was surprised. Like I have rated Kulusevski for a while. I don't remember really saying it in the summer, but I know I said it. Look, I'll be honest. The people that were slagging Kulusevski off after those first 20 minutes, I could see why they were doing it. He didn't look particularly fast, and you didn't really see what I'd always said. It was more about the close control with him, and obviously playing counter-attack football. That's not necessarily such an important part of the game. But I'm very happy that he's turned it around so quickly, and that he's already showing what the cross for Kane's goal, the opening goal against Man City, scoring again. Like I still think that there's a lot that he can improve on. But he's clearly much better than Lucas, and that's all we needed from him. We need the fact that
as well.
Yeah, I mean he's 21, 22 in a couple of months. He's so young. I mean, Brad's right. He's 6'1" probably, but he's built. He's not a Peter Crouch 6'1".
No, it's not.
And I feel like what he does more than anything is that not only does he know what to do, but he also kind of knows when to do it, and that's such an underrated part of like the best ones will make good decisions at the right time. He gets a few things wrong, obviously, because he's still young. But to take the shot as early as he did, I was surprised. We got a bit fortunate. I think it was the defender Llorente kind of let the ball run. So in the end, Kulusevski could keep hold of the ball. But he hit the shot first time, and he did surprise the keeper. I was surprised it went in, if I'm honest. I remember sitting here thinking, shoot, come on, you've got to shoot. And he did. And for a lot of times, you've seen that with Son even. He gets the opportunity to shoot and he doesn't. He takes another touch. And Kulusevski, when you look at the replay of that goal, like his body posture when he's striking the ball isn't great. But he got a great connection and it found the near post. It was 2-0 up after 15 minutes. I think my wife was thinking, are you watching Spurs? Like, what is this? You seem to be cheering an awful lot. But he's a great player, and he will be, a fixture of the first team for the next 2-3 years, I'd imagine.
And importantly, Conte likes him as well. So, which gives you the impression that he's a Conte player, that Conte wanted him.
That's important for Spurs, Brad. But we're all about saying how good I am at picking a player. That's the point of this segment, right? No, I'm joking a little bit, but I think I'm happy that Kulusevski is proving me right, but also doing well for Spurs. I mean, that is the most important thing.
There's actually you're not the only one. I don't know if you know Josh THFC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was really during the January transfer window. He was going a lot about Kulusevski. He even had a PowerPoint presentation of why Spurs should sign him. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not sort of bringing it up to sort of I'm just bringing up basically that there are a lot of people out there that think he's a decent player and that so I'd never heard of him, to be honest with you, but he was the young player of the year in Italy, wasn't he, a couple of seasons ago?
Yeah.
And he plays for Juventus in the Italian league. That's got to be a lot of pressure. So coming into the Premiership, I think that really, really suits him, and for that matter, for Bentancur as well. They've come from a very high pressure situation, which has got to be good for Spurs.
Yeah, it's confidence, isn't it? I mean, that's just it. Like without wanting to name Sessegnon. I mean, Sessegnon's what, a couple of weeks younger than Kulusevski, but there's not much in it. But when you look at the fact that Kulusevski's never played Premier League football before, Sessegnon did a season at Fulham and then did a few games at Spurs, but he's never really looked the part. Kulusevski has done from the first minute. He's not fazed by it. He keeps the ball so well, and he slows things down. And sometimes I wish he didn't. But he tends to make the right decision when doing so, and I guess that's I'm looking at my computer screen or my my TV, thinking, okay, go move into the space, and he doesn't. But he does tend to make the right call, and I mean that is the most important thing for me.
Yeah.
Right, got to talk about this one. 3-0. PH over the top to Kane, left foot, side foot volley. it was a great goal, wasn't it, Brad?
It was an absolutely wonderful pass from Højbjerg. It was a wonderful, but expected. I mean, this is how good Harry Kane is. That's what he does. It wasn't like, oh wow, where did he pull that out from? It was a typical Harry Kane goal because he is so good. I mean, we can talk. I'm sure we will talk about the rest of the game, but that particular moment, that's a Harry Kane goal. The only thing I didn't like about it, and this is what annoys me about VAR, is I very rarely celebrate goals like that because I'm thinking, is he offside? And they did check it, and he was onside, but just about onside. So that's the only thing that ruined it. Yeah, I celebrated, but then I thought, hang on a minute, is he offside, sort of thing. So yeah, but that was just a really, really good goal. Højbjerg, he's had a couple of. I didn't see him against Burnley. I didn't see any of the Burnley game, but he's had a couple of good games against City and against Leeds, and that absolutely wonderful, typical Harry Kane finish, and that says how good Kane is that you expect him to finish from there, But no, that was a wonderful, wonderful goal and a great 30 minutes of football.
All I'm going to say is you didn't miss much for the Burnley game. It was quite heavily soul destroying. So, HG, are we a bit blind to PEH's visionary passing prowess?
I think it just depends on what you want from PEH. Like if you want him to be that kind of, the midfield, I don't know what people want. If you want him to be a defensive player, he's not really that. And if you want him to be a great passer of the ball, he's not really that either, which I think is why people kind of get annoyed at him for being, a 7 out of 10 at everything, a 9 out of 10 at something. But he does have some good passes in his locker. I don't think the one for Kane was amazing, if I'm honest. I mean, he's obviously trying to do it. But I think if you ask him to do it, another 10 times, it would only come off maybe 6 or 7. So I don't think it's a massive part of his game. But the key part of that goal to me was the fact that Kane watched the ball onto his foot and didn't try and blast it into the net. Like there have been plenty of times where I've played football and I see the ball coming, and all I'm thinking is I've got to leather it as much as I can, and I miss the ball completely because I'm too focused on actually trying to smack it that I'm not focused on actually getting connection. And Kane was all about the connection. Yes, he hit it well, but it was more of a side foot volley. And as you watch it coming over, you watch his eyes follow the ball to his foot. He's not interested in anything else. And so it was brilliant. And you can't even say that the defending was bad. It wasn't. Maybe the goalkeeper should have expected it a bit more than he did because he looked a bit surprised that he'd even kicked it. But it was. You're right, Brad. Those 30 minutes, 3-0 up after half an hour of any Premier League game, even if you're Spurs, and we do have a history for messing things up. But I did think at least, it may be a bit uncomfortable from now on, but we'll still come away with 3 points. I did think that at least.
I just want half time at 3-0. I thought, right, half time, finish now, sort of thing. I don't know. It's just the thing with Tottenham that they if something goes wrong for them after everything goes right. In recent years, the heads have dropped, and we only have to go back to the West Ham game last season, and so I'm always on tenterhooks, put it that way, at 3-0. I guess what I should do is think, well, what would I be feeling as a Leeds fan? Be thinking, well, that's it, game over. So I guess if you sort of look at it from that point of view, but no, it's a very good performance, and Kane, as I said, you're right, textbook, eye on the ball, make sure you make contact with the ball. And it will go in. So textbook goal. But as I said, that's what we come to expect from Kane now. You expect him to put them away more than not.
It's interesting the point that Listen Grove makes here about Winks' pass for the first goal being better. Like I think both were relatively, simple. Højbjerg's not really under any pressure when he plays the ball over the top, but to get it right. That's not like you'd hope as a professional footballer you should get it right, but they don't all. And with Winks's, it's a left foot pass into space. He could overhit it easily. We've seen him do that plenty of times. It could have been cut out by Dallas. I think it was the fullback at the point. So but both goals were. I think it's just nice to see them do things that we would expect a professional footballer to do. And I think half the issues that we've had with Winks and Højbjerg is that in some respects they don't do that. I saw another comment about Højbjerg being a defensive midfielder to sweep things up. I agree with that, but he does that better when the whole team is defending more than if you give him a large area. like with the way Leeds play, it was him and Winks against their midfield. I mean, I guess they had numbers in midfield, but our midfield was pretty easy to play through. They didn't know what to do with it once they got that far. That was Leeds' problem. So like Højbjerg, I do feel needs a more defensive person next to him, someone who really is able to cover the ground. But he's still a good player. But I just don't think he's going to be the Kante or the Matic or the kind of defensive midfielder that Spurs have probably needed for a long time. He's just better than what we had.
I think also he suffered from the fact that he played, I think, every game last season. Then he went into the Euros and he went through the Ericsson injury. It wasn't an injury. Went through the Ericsson thing and had to play, literally play a different role. And he came forward the ball for Denmark quite a lot. So he's got it in his locker, so to speak. But I think this season he's played game after game after game, and you're going to get rusty after a while. You're going to have the occasional bad game. And I think last season he was so good that he only had one bad game. It's what's happened to Højbjerg? The poor guy was probably knackered. So getting back to the two passes, I think I know what you're saying, but I think if you've got time, where you've got to put the ball. So there's no luck in that. You're trying to get that ball to where Kane met it. Winks is trying to get the ball into space for Sessegnon to run on. So you're not hitting and hoping. You're actually sitting there thinking, right, I've got to get in that. And they did. And they are professional footballers and they should be able to do that. But I don't think you can take it away from them both being very good balls. I wouldn't like to argue which one was better. But I thought they were both good balls. I mean, it's like if Messi scored a brilliant goal by dribbling around everyone, so that's Messi, that's what he does. You'd still be excited by it. Excited by it.
Mm. Yep. So we did make it to half time intact. And then once we came out, Cess was booked after winning the ball both times in successive free kicks. What did you make of that, HG?
Make of Cess doing what? Sorry?
Cess booked after winning the ball both times in successive free kicks. That bit weren't in the highlights, so...
Yeah, it was one of those, I think one of the challenges, although he got the ball, it kind of went between, I think it was Rafinha's legs to get it, or Rafinha tried to shield it, and so although he got the ball, he also took the player. But I don't think that was the one where we got booked. I think it was the next one he got booked. But yeah, it's one of those things. He flew into challenges a little bit, but the second half especially, I feel like Leeds decided they weren't going to let us play anymore. So there were quite a number of wild challenges. And Sessegnon was the one who got caught from Spurs, although they weren't. Like in a different game, neither are yellows. But I think the referee just decided by this point, look, I've booked a few Leeds players. The Leeds fans are on my back a bit. I've got to try and even things up. And giving away 2 free kicks relatively quickly meant Cess was the second one, although it wasn't awful. I think he knew it was coming.
I don't think the referee gave a yellow card in the first half, did he? I think it was the second half he's given them. And the full marks to Sessegnon. When I saw him get that yellow card, I went, oh no, because I remember back to the European game where he flew in and got sent off. And but no, fair play to him. He sort of managed to go on the rest of the game without he took that on and went for the rest of the game without doing anything silly that would have got him sent off. But it was a bit harsh, I thought. But the referee started booking players, and as you're right, HG. They're sort of okay. Let's even it up a bit. Referees are only human, we seem to forget that,
So we got the flurry of yellows started after that, including one for Conte. What happened there?
Conte was probably just mouthing off a little bit too much. Like I think complaining at the fact that Leeds had been kicking our players, which they had been. Yeah. I don't feel like any of them were massively ridiculous challenges. Like it's not as if a Leeds player should have been sent off and we're getting away with it. But I think it was clear that they were trying to leave a couple of tackles on our players, and Conte took exception to it, and in the way that only he can. So I can't remember who was it. Pawson, the ref, I think so.
Yeah. Also, I think it was in front of the dugout as well. The foul happened. So.
Yeah. So if the referee's there and the fourth official's there, but I don't know when referees get booked, I'm like, okay. Like, is it really? Like, I feel like booking a manager, referees. When the managers get booked, I don't really care. If a manager gets booked, Okay, so what? I mean, if he gets a second yellow, okay, so what? It doesn't. To me, I don't know if I should be bothered by it more than I am, but I'm not. So we always want our managers to be part of the game, and we know that he does. He plays it.
Oh God, yeah, he kicks every ball, doesn't he?
Quite.
And the thing about Conte is like, I mean, they tried to make a massive story out of his after-match press conference, the Burnley one. He was just being honest. He was just saying what all of us fans had been saying, and that's he's a football fan. He said on the Friday, didn't he? He said, "Oh look, don't talk to me after a game, after a loss." I'm exactly the same. After Burnley, I switched my phone off. I thought, no, I'm not even looking at social media. I'm going to watch some music videos and then go to bed. I just couldn't be bothered. And I'm sure I've seen a foul on TV against a Spurs player. And, come on, ref, that's the worst foul ever. Where he done? You see the replay of it the next day on Match of the Day or whatever, and you think, oh, actually, it wasn't that bad, wasn't it? It's just in the heat of the moment. And Conte is like us. He's like the fans. He gets into his football.
I always wonder where the line is. Like, what can you say to a referee and what can't you say to a referee? Because clearly they hear some pretty choice words and get away with it. But yeah, I mean, for Conte to do it, it does make you wonder what he said. Like, what's the Italian for "your mother's a whore"?
What's that?
Has Paulson learned a bit of Italian so he can? I don't know.
That famous Martin Jol thing, wasn't it?
He went up to
he went up to a referee after I don't know who it was after a match and says, "Am I allowed to call you a prick?" And the referee goes, "No, you're not." He says, "Well, am I allowed to think that you're a prick?" And the referee says, "Well, you think what you like." He says, "Okay, I think you're a prick."
That Martin Jol at his peak. I love Martin. I will always love Martin Jol.
I think Martin Jol started if you think the Spurs revolution up to Pochettino and hopefully now with Conte, I think Martin Jol started that whole thing off.
Absolutely.
So second half chances, we had Doherty put through by Kane. Doherty crossed for Cess, who couldn't get onto the ball but did collide with the post. Cess then smashed one into the side netting from the edge of the box. He certainly was visibly growing in confidence, something we've mentioned many times on here that he was lacking. And to be fair, Conte has mentioned that Cess needs to believe in Cess. I think this is a big part of his game is just him feeling like he does belong in a Spurs shirt. What do you think, HG?
I totally agree. I think when I was a kid, and we're talking really, really young, there was a tennis game, right, where you just had the two blocks on either side and the ball that went between the two, right? And I think it was called tennis, but some kind of Atari nonsense. When we're talking early 80s, that's all you really want from a wing back in this system. Someone who keeps the ball in and can do well going forward, can do well going back, and he almost just keeps the ball in. I feel like Sessegnon sometimes overthinks it. He obviously needs help. He gets lots of help behind him from Davies. And I've said this before, I think Son doesn't really understand what he needs to do in front of Cess. Because if you tell Cess that he's got to be the only attacking threat, he's going to struggle. He doesn't have the tricks really on the ball to beat his man. He's got the pace to do it, but again, he's not with the ball when that happens. So I think that if we've got to learn a little bit on how Cess wants to play it, and Son has to be better at helping him out. But I feel as if Son had one of his best games for Spurs recently, because he did get involved at both ends of the pitch, and he was helping him out defensively and getting in front of Cess and giving him options. And so I think Cess, he's still young. I mean, he's 22 in a couple of months. But it is now or never, kind of. He has to realize that you've got the talent. He's technically really good, I think. Yeah. But he's just got to believe in himself a bit more. And
he scored. I think he scored 16 goals for Fulham in that season. And it's like, wow. And he would have been 18, 19 then.
Yeah, not even. Probably younger than that.
Yeah. So he's obviously got it there. But I mean, making that step up, and he hasn't had the best of starts with injuries, and of course he made that great comeback and then got sent off the next game. But and I think you're right. And I think what Conte was saying about confidence to believe in himself, and I think he showed a bit of that on Saturday. He actually did get to the byline, did cross it. All right, he wasn't doing any fancy dribbles, but he did do what. Whereas before he'd get the ball and stop and push it inside, he did what a wing back's supposed to do, is what you just said, is get the ball and cross it effectively.
And because he played in the Liverpool game as well, the 2-2 at home.
He did actually,
where Spurs were pretty good that day.
Yeah.
So I think that even though we've got a few games coming up, obviously Borough tomorrow night in the Cup, and then Everton and Man United, I wouldn't mind seeing him play all of those games. We're not necessarily needing to rotate people too much. Okay, granted, it's only 3 days from the last one now, but after that, it's a 6-day, 5-day rotation, I think. So if Reguilon, if there's even a thought that Reguilon is going to go back to Real, it might be worth it for Spurs to actually see what they've got with this and give him a run of games.
I heard this theory actually on Saturday. That if that's a possibility. Well, I believe it's up to Cess. I believe it's up to Reguilon, isn't it? If he wants to go back. So
it's his boyhood club, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a lot warmer in Madrid. To be honest.
It's an interesting one because he's not going to be first choice there.
No.
So if he likes playing football, then maybe Spurs is the best place for him.
Yeah.
I feel like if he played really well for Spurs and there were other clubs interested, and then he can say, okay, well, I'll go back to Real just so they can move me on. But that's not really going to happen. So if I was Reguilon, it is a tough call because boyhood club is boyhood club. That means a lot. And it is Real Madrid. It's not just like Sporting Gijón or whatever. Like it's so. If I'm honest, I expect him to go back. If Madrid want to pay the money, I think he'll probably go back because how many chances do you get? He still hasn't really had much chance to play for Real because he was obviously at Sevilla before he came to Spurs. So it's going to be a weird one. But Cess, like I think it's in his head. But like if he had the confidence that Reguilon seems to have, which is almost too much, then he'll go and be a really good wing back because I don't think he has it defensively to be a left back, and I'm not sure he's a great left winger. He does tend to be the old school left midfielder that would keep the ball in play and could do a bit of everything, but didn't need to do everything. It's a tough one, but I'd like to see Cess play at Middlesbrough for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So then Dan James side-footed wide, and then we saw probably howler of the season from Hugo, or it could have potentially been howler of the season from Hugo. Ball through. Hugo tried to play a short pass rather than blast it.
Oh, no.
Dallas intercepted and for some reason didn't move towards the empty net. And Ben Davies was there to save the day. I mean, I've seen it. And it's a good job I already knew we'd won 4-0 before I saw it, because when I watched it, I did laugh quite a lot. It was hilarious. What do you make of it, Brad?
You say, what do you say? Cock up of the season or whatever, of the season. It's probably saved howler of the season. Yeah. It's probably saved the season as well because Lloris did what all football, which really annoys me with professional footballers, is not being able to kick with their wrong foot. That really annoys me as professional footballers. I'm right-footed, but I could certainly give it a go with my left foot, and I would try and kick it with my left foot if I had to. So not only did he not kick it, he tried to place it. He tried to pass it with his wrong foot and failed dismally. Then tried to rugby tackle the guy. Again, failed dismally. And then, you're right. I'm thinking because that would have been 3-1, wouldn't it? With about 15 minutes to go, and I'm thinking, oh, no, here we go. Leeds are back in the game. Through an error, which let's face it, most Spurs goals are conceded through errors. That seems to be the case. But then he seemed to take a long time, didn't he? And going back to Davis, great block, but Sessignon got back on the goal line as well. So they defended it real. But that was, I was literally not celebrating's the wrong word, but I'm shouting like it was a goal. I'm going, oh, what a tackle, or block. And that's as good as a goal. That's as good as a goal.
It is. HG, I don't understand this joke, but I'm sure you'll be able to explain it like you do with most things. Was this the worst example of Dallas going bad since Bobby Ewing came back from dead in the shower?
Okay, so Shan, in the 80s, there was a TV show called Dallas. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's one of the characters was called JR, I think the main character. To be fair, Dallas is kind of before my time. I'd have been like eight or nine probably when it was on.
I never watched it, but yeah.
Yeah, there you go. But it was your basic American soap opera drama. Anyway, so Stuart Dallas, I guess, is the joke. Thank you, Dave, for that one. I'm assuming it was Dave. Stuart Dallas is one of those weird players that, like, I quite like him because he does a decent job wherever he is on the pitch, but he never looked comfortable. Even when it was just him and Cess, I was screaming at Sessegnon, like, go to him, close him down, make it difficult. And Cess was like ambling back to the goal line. I'm like, dude, like, get your angles right. Like, I was never a goalkeeper, but I knew at least that. And so I'm watching Dallas kind of amble towards the goal, thinking, okay, well, the odds are getting better that he's going to side foot it in the corner. Yeah. And then suddenly Ben Davies comes in like Superman and makes the block. And so maybe Sessegnon knew that was going to happen all along and was just trying to make it more difficult for Dallas. Because if Dallas had hit it early, there's a good chance he's not going to score. Yeah. He obviously wasn't confident about doing it from 30 yards.
But I think going back to the joke, Shan, in Dallas, Bobby Ewing was killed off, and then the outrage was from the fans was so much that they brought him back about a year or so later, and his wife goes into the shower. Who's having a shower? Hang on a minute, but you're dead. But no, it was all a dream. So literally a whole year of that show was a dream. And that's what that joke means, that Dallas went bad since Bobby Ewing's appearance in the shower. So yeah.
We don't talk about showers here.
No, we don't. We certainly don't.
I'm not.
Yeah, Brad has no idea, and Brad, you will not know what we're talking about. But no, Shan knows. Shan knows. It's to do with Shan.
Yeah.
But yeah. So moving on.
Yeah, that moment was a moment. Yeah, that moment was a moment of, oh no, we've let them back in with a stupid error. Although to be fair, I mean, not to be fair, but Davies actually made an error right near the end, which could have cost us as well. Well, we're falling up by that time, but who knows? You know, top four might depend on goal difference by one goal. So, you know.
We ain't getting anywhere if it's to do with goals, let's be honest. Another mistake by Hugo, HG. Should we be a bit concerned about him? Since he signed that contract, he's done an Aubameyang, isn't he? He's signed his new deal and he's awful.
There is something to that. I think we talked about Adebayor in the week, about how he only was good when he was playing for a contract. Yeah, I hope not. I mean, this is only a 2-year deal, but it's weird. Like all those things we used to talk about Hugo a couple of years ago, where he's making a few more mistakes quite regularly. It doesn't need to creep back into his game. And maybe he was just bored because he hadn't had too much to do and thought, the ball's in my half of the pitch, I'm going to get involved. But yeah, the comment we put up earlier about when he tried to rugby tackle the player, like as much as it was ridiculous watching that, it would have been more ridiculous to see him chasing after Dallas as if he was an actual player. The goalkeeper's running back. But yeah, like if he'd got the ball, he'd have been sent off. It was really ridiculous to dive with his hands to try and stop it. But I guess decision making under pressure is what makes a player a player. But yeah, hopefully Hugo hasn't realised that he's good for the next couple of years, and now he's going to make mistakes.
In fairness to Hugo, the mistake he made against City, he really well and truly made up for it with that amazing save from, I forget who it was now. That was going in. Yeah, that was going in. So I guess it evened out on that night. But yeah, it's probably having a bad patch. I think Lloris doesn't strike me as the sort of person that would play for a contract. I think he's a bit more.
No calls for Collini to replace him in goal then.
Collini, who apparently is ill, so make of that what you will.
That's right. He's not been on the bench, has he, recently?
No. And how many games does we have to play him, and then we got to pay for him? So
you think that? Oh,
it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't want us to sign him. I mean, like he may well be better than what he's shown, but no, like there's just no reason for that. So if that's the reason Hugo gets injured and we get to see Brandon Austin, then again, great. Like I don't want to see Hugo injured, but I'd rather see Brandon Austin play for us than Galini. So yeah, well, I guess we'll see.
Back as well, or did he go back out on loan?
I think it's their season finished or had a break or something, but I think he's back on loan. But I liked what I saw of Whiteman. Not that many expert on goalkeepers. Yeah, pre-season I like what I saw with Whiteman.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously he's homegrown, which is what you want in a backup keeper. So hopefully he proves himself out on this loan, and then maybe next season could be his year to take that number 2 spot. But I think he seems like he's got the confidence to do it. It just depends whether he's good enough or not.
Yeah.
we've already talked about Emerson fluffing his chance, so we're going to go straight to the 4-0. Kane to Son, no mistake. 37 joint goals, 21 have come since Poch left, overtaking Putin's mates Lampard and Drogba.
Ooh, bit of politics there.
I didn't read that before I read it. So
it was
like it didn't even click in my brain what I was saying until I'd read it, and then I was like, Putin's mate Lampard and Drogba, what?
Yeah, because they played for Chelsea. It's just it's one of those jokes that Dave makes where like you see the link just about in the distance through the fog. But yeah, look, I mean, 37 goals, you can't argue with it. But it is surprising, I think, for most Spurs fans to realise how many have happened since Poch left. That over half of them have been there. Like we all know they had a great season under Mourinho. And I think it's relatively logical to figure out why, is that for the last, 2.5 seasons, it's only been Kane and Son that have had any kind of influence in front of goal. Like Eriksen didn't play for the last 6 months, really, that he was here. Lucas has never been great at assisting or scoring. Bergwijn obviously hasn't played that much, but didn't score too often when he did. So yeah, it is this kind of, if it's not Kane and Son, who is it? Who else is providing these chances? So it's, I don't know if I really care too much about the stat.
It's just a nice thing. It's just a nice when you see pictures like this, though, isn't it? If I can get it on the screen.
Yeah, that's true.
Sort of thing,
Thrown in, Frank, your favourite guy at the HG.
Yeah, we go to the thrones and outside are Putin's mates, so Drogba and Lampard.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't in the run sheet, so I'm going rogue. Sorry, John. Sorry, Dave. But have we got a front three now that is similar to what we did have when it was Desk, Dele, Eriksen, Son, Kane? They're all going to start creating and scoring. Because it certainly looks that way. Kulusevski's come in. He's got 2 goals and an assist. He should have had another 2 assists if those goals weren't ruled out for offside. Do we have a front three now that are all going to chip in with the goals, do you think?
Well, Kulusevski didn't have a very big scoring record with Juventus, so whether that'll have any effect. But hopefully, I mean, he does seem to suit that top 3 more so than Mora. I think Mora's more of an impact player that will come on and take players on. I mean, I did like what Mora was doing early in the season, but I still think we get more with. I think Mora, you can more or less know what he's going to do, but I think Kulusevski sort of comes on and he seems to go across the pitch and get stuck in. And he helped. I remember in the Man City game, he was helping out Emerson quite a lot because we had to defend a lot when we was literally a back 5-4-1. But yeah, I think, as I said, that first 11 at the moment, okay, you can argue about your right wing back and your left wing back, but it's pretty much picks itself at the moment, I think, with Bentancur back, obviously, after injury. So, yeah, at the moment, whether it'll be going forward, whether that'll be the lineup, I don't know. I mean, Dele Alli and Eriksen scored a lot of goals, really, and I don't think, I mean, I could be proved wrong, but certainly on his past record for Juventus, I don't think Kulusevski's going to do that. But you're right, he scored 2 goals in 3 starts. So yeah, so I could be. Well, hope I am wrong. But that one season, I think we equaled a record. I think it was only us and Man City one season that had 3 players that scored 20 goals. I think that was Son, Kane, and Dele. I think. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we need those days. But then again, look, you've only got to look at our first 11 in that 2017 season, the last one at White Hart Lane, and suddenly realise what a good team that was, player-wise, And we're a long way off that at the moment, but, we're getting there. And Pochettino had to start somewhere, and Conte has had to start somewhere with this current team. So it'd be interesting where we finish. Sorry, go on.
No, I think Darren here with the comment has made a really good point. I think Kulusevski played a lot of games, but that's like saying Eric Lamela played a lot of games. Yeah. If half of them are from the substitutes bench, you're getting 15, 20 minutes max. And so, he never really got that kind of the impetus, the momentum.
Yeah, I'm probably
if you're not starting.
Unfair, but
so I think it's a genuine concern, obviously, when you look at those stats. but he was never really a regular at Juventus, and that doesn't make someone a bad player. I mean, like Ronaldo was there for at least one of the seasons.
True. Yeah.
So like he's fighting for a couple of spots, and Chiesa was there. So he was always going to be kind of fourth choice for most of his time there. So he'd get cup games and maybe a few minutes here and there. And for Spurs, he is better than Lucas. I mean, you're right. Lucas has his own attributes that we love at various times. But like if you're telling me, do you want a 21-year-old or a 29-year-old, and there's very little difference, you'd pick the 21-year-old. And the fact that there is much of a difference, it's a no-brainer. And if it was me personally, I'd be trying to put Bergwijn getting more minutes than Lucas too, because I think if you got Bergwijn's son, Kane, and Kulusevski actually functioning, I think the four of them could work really well, because you've got even if Kane drops deep, and you'd have the pace of of Son and Bergwijn making those runs from deep, like our fourth goal, then maybe the midfield's not strong enough to play all four of them at once, but I think it's a functionable group. I really do.
Yeah. By the way, Darren, apparently Kulu means in Italian it might mean backside or something. So I've heard that he prefers to be called Decky or Decky. I think.
Yeah. I'm going to put it up so that people can see what he likes. In a second.
Oh, it's this
there
thing.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely. Or Kula Sexy, as I call him.
Yeah, like I mean, Kulusevski. What's wrong with that? Like, I mean, Kulusevski is obviously a lot, but like, thankfully, I will never call him DK21. That's for sure. I hate those things. I hate those things so much. But Decky. I mean, brilliant.
Well, when we got Bentancur is Benny and Kulu's Big Adventure. That's what I called it. So,
Alan, yes, there is. I think it's 10 million euros for an 18-month loan, but at any point we can pay the fee and keep him permanently. I'm pretty certain it's a permanent deal that we've just basically buy now, pay later in effect.
That's unusual for Spurs, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, weird. Same with Romero. Same. I mean, so we've got a lot of money that will probably go out, but
it turns into an obligation under certain conditions as well, doesn't it? So
isn't that if we make the Champions League though?
If we make the Champions League, and there was another one as well. I can't remember what the other condition was, but there were two where we would turn it into an obligation. But I think we'll sign him anyway. If he continues this kind of form, then we'd be stupid not to. And he's so cute.
Really?
When he scores, like he's just like, yeah, I'm the man. It's quite impressive.
He hasn't actually.
And then you've got it's like Kulu and Son cancel each other out because like Decky is just like, yeah, I did that, and Son's like, yes, he's like a hyperactive kid when he scores a goal, and he's like, come on.
Decky's got his own song, hasn't he? He's got his own song.
He has. It's the Gimme a Ginger from Sweden, which HU probably hates because it's ABBA. But
no, that's not the reason I hate it. But it's going to stick. I do think it's going to stick, that one. I don't know. My brother is a ginger. I know he doesn't like the term. I don't think it's meant in a nice way. What are you like? He's from Sweden. He's a footballer. Yes, but he's ginger. Let's talk about that. But yeah, I mean, if he doesn't care, then why should I? But it's nice that the Spurs fans, again, it's been Delhi was probably the last one that got a song pretty quickly. Kulusevski, we've been waiting for a player like that. Yeah. And that's why he's gonna. The fans, I think, are gonna love him very quickly. Even if he doesn't continue, this is the type of player he is. He's a Spurs player, absolutely.
Yeah, he says the right things as well.
Took Sonny 2 years, I think, to get his 2 seasons to get his song, didn't it? I mean, and then again, that was an old song going back to when I was a lad. So a bread advert from a bread advert. Well, the song wasn't from the song was Chas and Dave, but the actual expression, nice one, Sonny, which was nice one, Cyril, for Cyril Knowles, when Cyril Knowles used to play for Spurs, was from a Mother's Pride, I think it's Mother's Pride bread advert.
There you go. That I didn't know. I knew about Cyril Knowles, but
they're trying different breads and they're trying to work out what baker. And he goes, "Oh, I love this one. That's one of Cyril's, isn't it? Yeah, nice one, Cyril." And then
not
Chaz and Dave, Cotley Chorus came out with nice ones. They're all nice ones on, and the rest of it sort of thing, which has been taken now for nice ones. Sonny, because of the name. See, I should write books on songwriting.
Benton Core's song is starting to. I heard it at Burnley. I know we don't talk about Burnley, but when Benton Core went down injured, the Benton Core song was heard, which was nice. He's the reason we'll be playing on Wednesdays next season, which we won't.
You might have to sing this one for us, Shan, because we weren't there.
He's the reason we'll be playing on Wednesdays next season. He came with his mate from Sweden. It's Benton Core.
Okay, I like that one. I like that one.
Oasis. She's electric. Yeah.
It's good. It's a good one. Back to the Leeds game. There was still time for Rafinha to smack another one against the post. It was close. I saw the goal shake. Did you think that was going in?
Well, the best part for me was when Hugo was like, "Yeah, it's going wide. It's going smack." But yeah, it was Hugo's side as well. I'm hoping that Hugo's getting all of these mistakes out in one game when we're 4-0 up. But yeah, I mean, Rafinha's a good player. He almost certainly won't be at Leeds next season, regardless of what happens to them.
Might have at Tottenham, actually.
Yeah,
possibly. I'd swap him for Lucas.
Yeah, well, it's quite near the top of the assist league as well. The amount of assists this season.
I would say that we've been linked, but we get linked with everyone. So
we do, yeah.
I mean, we're even linked with what's his name? HG, help me.
Well,
Chelsea defender
Christensen.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
We're linked with Christensen at the minute.
As long as it's not Rudiger.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, but both of them, both Christensen and Rudiger, are out of contract, so Chelsea can't do anything about it.
No,
but we would go mental if it's Rudiger. If Conte even thinks about the idea, I think the fans would be like, "No, I don't care how good he is. No." But Christensen, I could see.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if he chose us. I think he might have better options on a free, but he could. I mean, I don't know. I quite like Christensen as a player, but I'm not so sure that he would pick Spurs. I think that having come through Chelsea's academy, he would know enough to look, I don't need to piss in the swimming pool, even if I'm leaving. I'll go play abroad somewhere and go from there. But yeah, we are linked with everyone. That is true.
Dybala,
we're linked with him again.
That would be that. I think has more chance of happening than Christensen.
Yeah. Spurs have signed 47-year-old Dybala. Yeah,
it will happen at some point, won't it? Sorry, Kerry's asked what the rest of the words are, so I'm just looking at Spurs song sheet on Twitter because they put them all on here, and there's some good ones.
This is the Ginger from Sweden song, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see what the rest of it is.
I've
got the first couple of lines.
Gimme a ginger from Sweden.
He came from
Juventus. He plays on the wing, yeah.
And then he goes, gimme a ginger from Sweden.
Number 21, his name is Kulusevski.
Yeah, that's it. Number 21, his name is Kulusevski.
Kulusevski. I mean, to be fair, even though I don't like one of those lines, it's a decent song. And Spurs, we don't have songs. We haven't really had them for such a long time, which is disturbing, really. It doesn't take too much to pinch a chorus from a song everyone knows from the 90s or whatever's and then go. But I still think my Dombele one should have caught on, but it never did, and it never will now. It was it Take My Breath Away by Berlin.
Oh,
so it was like Tongi Dombele. He just did that on repeat. I think it would have worked.
Tongi didn't deserve a song, HG.
No, quite. It would never have been sung because of how he played, but I think it would have worked. Just to have Go on, sorry.
I was going to say I've got. I don't know if you guys have got the last game at White Hart Lane. I mean, that was on Sky. I've kept it. It's one of those sort of keep things. And from about the 20th minute mark in the first half, we all started singing all of the songs all the way back through history. It's brilliant. It absolutely was brilliant, including we'll take good care of you, Archibald. All those sort of songs. It was brilliant.
to go back to Kulusevski, this is a really good question from Nick, and I'm sorry I didn't see it earlier. I think he means Kulusevski here, like a player that's similar to Kulusevski that's been successful in the Premier League. Because you look at him, I mean, he's not the fastest. He's all left foot. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, you think possibly, I mean, Yarmolenko at West Ham, but I wouldn't say he's been massively successful. But they're similar players. But I think Yarmolenko's only looking to do one thing, which is to try and find the far corner with a curling shot. I don't think he's ever really considered anything else, whereas Kulusevski is very much a team player. But yeah, a left-footed inverted winger that can't cross a ball really, or isn't known for that.
But he can cross a ball because he's
I don't consider that to be like a Beckham-style cross. He put it into an area and Kane beat Walker to it. Yeah, so yes, that's better than what we've had. But I don't think Kulusevski would say, yeah, I'm really good at crossing the ball. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh here. But
I think you're being a bit harsh.
Yeah, all right. I'll take that one.
A good cross, you know.
It's almost a bit like Bale last season. Oh,
sorry.
He rolls his left foot over the ball and he cuts inside. It's very Bale-esque. He's just not got the pace of Bale. But I think he makes up for that in other aspects because unlike Bale, he tracks back and he helps the team.
Yeah.
Like there are certain things with Kulusevski where it's a 50-50 ball that you think he's going to lose and somehow he comes away with it. I don't quite know how. Like Suarez used to do that all the time. Suarez would just run between defenders, and you're like, well, you're never going to get the ball, and he keeps it every time. Kulusevski has a little bit of that, where although he's obviously a much bigger player and a different style, he seems to win a lot of 50-50s, and I don't know if it's luck or if he just understands the game a bit more and knows what defenders are going to try and do. But I mean, Nick's right. Like when Kulusevski gets it, we're not thinking, oh, he's going to run into trouble. The goal he scored against Leeds, he had the ball by the corner flag initially. Yeah. And with a simple 1-2 with Doherty, he's suddenly in on goal. There is something very different about him, but in a brilliant way. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a very good man. So, man of the match, again, Harry Kane, obviously. He's 174 Premier League goals. He's 13 behind Andy Cole, 13 games left. Can he catch Cole this season?
Catch him next season.
Yeah. This season, no, I don't think so. No. If we're lucky, he gets past Aguero this season. I guess that's still possible, especially if we get lots of penalties. But
we never get penalties, HG.
Here you go.
How many have we had this season?
I have no idea.
2, is it?
Idea. I don't know. Like past Wolves. That's true. Delhi got one. Oh man.
Yeah, I think we've had 2.
Okay. So yeah, like if we get a few more, then okay. But he should get past Lampard and be 5th. If we do really well, he gets past Aguero, but past Cole, I think it was pushing it slightly. I don't know.
Hopefully, we show a bit of ambition in the transfer market, and he decides to stay with us as well. So there's that as well. But
I think this summer, really, when it comes to Kane, is no different than last year. Last year, we weren't going to sell. Even if people had money, I think Levy would have said, no, 3 years left, sod off. Yeah. 2 years left, it's a bit more likely that he might be tempted. But I think it would still be. I mean, Conte would not be happy.
Bring Levy up by his ankles.
There you go. Yeah. That in itself, if Kane wants to stay, and there's no if we continue to get buy better players and improve as a team, Kane may well stay for a bit longer.
He's always said, you're right. He's always said that if Spurs show ambition, he's quite happy here. So
the irony being that if Kane does stay at Spurs, then he hasn't shown any ambition himself. Some would say. Some would say, but no, like it's an interesting one. But yeah, we've got to.
I know what you mean. My argument to that is that there's nothing wrong with enjoying who you're playing football for. I guess I mean, so everyone said that about Sonny when he signed the new contract. Oh, why isn't he? Could have gone anywhere. He obviously likes it at Spurs. What's wrong with that? It's. I mean, that's the annoying thing about Tottenham and being a Tottenham supporter is that we know that there is the potential for this club to be good. It's there, but we never seem to fulfil it. And now I think we've got probably, mate. All right, okay. I don't intend leaving this earth anytime soon, but this could be our last chance of me seeing a successful Spurs team.
Can't say that. Don't say that, Brad. Come on now.
Morbid,
you're looking at, if we, where do we go after Conte?
I almost feel like I need to stop going to games just so Brad can see it.
No, I mean, look. Okay, I might be exaggerating, but if Conte goes, where do we go from there? When can you see Spurs being successful if Conte goes?
If Conte goes, we get Poch back.
Well, would Poch come back with the current ownership? I'm not sure he would.
I think he would.
I don't even want to have this conversation.
No. Sorry.
Conte's going to stay for another year, 2 years. We'll get more. I mean, at some point, Spurs are going to have to realise that Conte's not going to stay forever. We all know that, and Kane won't stay forever, and we won't be as good once those two go. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But as a club, we are in a position where I think if you look at the big six, the richer six, us and Arsenal. Any good player at us or Arsenal is the media will want to sell them because the other four teams, there's no desire for players to leave there. That's what people would say. If you're at Man United, why would you go anywhere else? If you're at Man City, why would you go anywhere else? And I think Liverpool and Chelsea fit into that. Spurs and Arsenal don't for various reasons. So the longer that someone stays at Spurs, there is this kind of attitude, well, like no one does this at Spurs. Players leave Spurs. Sheringham left Spurs. Modric left Spurs. Berbatov, like they all leave Spurs at some point. And so if Kane doesn't do it, until he does, it's always going to be a topic. But like you're right, like Kane is really, really happy. I don't think he really wants to go anywhere. No, I think he genuinely would be happy to stay at Spurs because he's a local boy and his family's around and he's got 3 kids now. If you're happy, and he clearly is, the only thing that makes him unhappy is Spurs doing badly, which that makes him like us. He is one of our own.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah, we're unhappy at the same time. And I mean, wouldn't it be? I mean, it'd be great. I mean, it's going to be incredibly difficult, but it'd be so good to win the FA Cup this season. Then you get that trophy monkey off your back for a lot of, for the club and the fans, but for a lot of players that have been here since the Posh times. I mean, I've seen Spurs lose about 6 or 7 semi-finals and 2, 3, 4 finals. And it gets you. It mentally gets you that you think, oh, I'm never going to see us win anything. That's got to affect some players that have been around doing the same thing. So you get over that you get that win, and it's like, oh yeah, we can do this. We can win.
Even if Spurs won the FA Cup this season, they wouldn't stop trying to sell him. They wouldn't. They'd just be like, well, he's not won a league title. There's always going to be something. And so, he may not win a league title at Spurs, but I think when you play for Spurs for that long, you probably, I mean, any Spurs fan is like, I probably won't see it before I die. I'd like to, but it would be a weird footballer to look at Spurs and think, we like, there's a very good chance of that happening. There's a chance, but I don't think it's any more than that. But let's talk about the goal. Like the goal for Son, we haven't really discussed what a great ball that was. Best pass of the season, wasn't it?
Brilliant ball. It was one of those balls that got, as it left his foot, it got better and better and better. It was it was a brilliant goal. It was and I'm really, really going back. The last time I can remember a ball like that was Alfie. I'm not sure if it was Alfie Con. Maybe Alfie Con scored it, but it's that sort of thing. And I remember my mate. This is going back to when I was at school. My mate said to me, that ball got better and better and better as it went, and that was exactly the same as Kane's ball on Saturday. And it was great because it was great to see Sonny score as well, and also 4-0. That's it. Me being me, that's the 3 points we've got now, sort of thing. But it was, and that's what Kane does. I mean, he's. Can you argue he's one of the best players in the world at the moment?
Yeah.
On that form, if he plays like that every game, we're looking at one of the best in the world.
But I think that's just it, consistency. Like any other central striker that has the kind of record that Kane does plays in a much better team than Kane, right? Lewandowski at Bayern, Benzema at Real Madrid, like they're top of their leagues for a reason. Kane is surrounded by, or has been surrounded by for the last, year and a half, 2 years, a lot of players that aren't playing to his level, that can't really play to his level, that maybe needed the system more than Kane does. He's like, I don't understand anyone who says Kane isn't a good footballer. Forget his goal scoring record and how many penalties he scored. There are still people out there who think that Kane isn't a good footballer. I don't like left foot, right foot, header. He can do it all. Like if he could run fast, you're looking at one of the best players ever. Yeah. That's pretty much all he's missing. But everything else that he does is because he works at it. Like
I think his intelligence makes up for his lack of pace, though.
Yep.
And it's the same with Decky. That's another quality that I see in Decky. He's got a good football brain, so he knows where he needs to be, and he can anticipate it probably quicker than Lucas does. Lucas has pace, but it doesn't help him. He runs into trouble more often than not. But Decky's got the brain to think about what he's going to do before he's going to do it. And that's the same with Kane as well. He's not fast, but he knows what he's going to do the minute he's going to do it. And that's ultimately why he even when he was out of form, you always knew it was going to come. Like he is one of the best in the world. He's one of the top 3 strikers in the world.
Yeah.
Like, easy.
And he'll be playing top level football for another 6, 7, 8 years. I've no doubt about that. Like he may not be the main man at a club, but like if you've got a 36-year-old Harry Kane on the bench, or who comes in and like plays 15, 20 games a season, you're still laughing. Yeah. I mean, Shearer was the same. Shearer played, I think, as the main man probably a bit too long, but at Newcastle you could do that. There wasn't anyone else. No. If Kane does stay at Spurs, he could easily have that position.
Also, Teddy Sheringham as well. Another one that
playing Premier League at what, 40?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So Kane will be the best. I say the best. Like he's the Greaves for me. Right, I don't think I'm ever going to see a striker better than Harry Kane at Spurs. I mean, I'm mid-40s now, but Gary Lineker was there for 2 years, 3 years. Gascoigne, I've seen. All the good players we've had in the last 30 years, I've seen. Kane's been there now for 8 seasons, pretty much, as being the main man.
It's been a one season wonder for 8 seasons,
Right. 25 goals a season in all competitions, pretty much guaranteed. When for years we didn't have one that hit 20. Yeah. Right, and he pretty much guarantees you 25. It's incredible, absolutely incredible player. And if he retires having won very little, I would almost be more upset if there were people saying he was a bad player because he didn't win. Because there's no.
I've never worked that one out. You know, Matt Letizia was a brilliant player, but you know he played for Southampton his whole career, didn't win anything. No. Doesn't make him a bad player. You know, so
absolutely not.
Yeah. But no, if someone asked me, as I have been asked, to name my top 11 players that I've seen, I saw my first game. I actually did see Jimmy Greaves. He's one of my favourite players. The 2 strikers, Kane and Greaves, I wouldn't even think about it. Kane and Greaves, that's it. And I've seen players like Martin Chivers, Gary Lineker, Jurgen Klinsmann, you know, all these players. But no, Kane and Greaves, without a shadow of a doubt.
This is we got a few questions coming in from people, which I love because it makes our job easier when you give us questions that we can answer. But since we're talking about Kane right now, right, this is one from our resident Newcastle fan who watches our show. Thanks, Alan, for watching.
Hello, Alan.
Who is better, Shearer or Kane? Right, well, yeah, I mean, bias will play a role here. I remember Shearer scoring goal after goal after goal after goal. I remember him doing it at Southampton before the Premier League started.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, like, when it comes to being a better player, I would say Kane, because Shearer couldn't do half the stuff that Kane can. But when it comes to scoring goals and that single-mindedness, I think he probably has that a little bit more than Kane, if I'm honest.
Well, if Kane, I'd like to ask Alan, if Kane breaks Shearer's record, does that mean Alan changes his mind?
Yeah, maybe.
I think Kane for his passing ability alone.
Yeah, he's a better all-round footballer. I don't really remember Shearer at set pieces heading the ball away.
Kane's probably our best defender at set pieces. You know?
Some of the passes he's done, and even before the last 18 months when people have been really aware. But there was a goal at Wembley where he crossed the ball, I think, and Son was on the run and kind of headed it into the far corner.
Yeah.
Like to even see that pass, Like he wasn't really looking over his shoulder, but he just thought, if I put it in that area and Son is running, he's gonna. That's the kind of thing you can't teach. The relationship that the two players have, you can't. Like, that's come over time. Like early on, it was Kane and Dele that had the understanding, not Kane and Son.
Yeah.
But he's adapted his game completely. We are a much different team, whereas under Poch, he was basically playing in the 18-yard box the entire game because we had the ball. Now he's playing in the centre circle most of the game. So like Shearer, you can't argue with his goal scoring record, but I think without being biased, I'd have to say Kane is a better player. I'd have to.
Yeah, being a biased Spurs fan, I agree with you actually.
Right, speaking about defensive, another question. What do you think, guys?
Okay, Romero was at fault, from what I've heard, for the Burnley goal. To give him a bit of slack, he's been injured for a lot of the season, so has he possibly missed out on a lot of the training where they look at tactics of marking at set pieces? Because I think I've made this point many times. When you're a footballer or in any walk of life, I play guitar. There's a thing called muscle memory, and you do stuff without thinking when you play guitar. And I think with a footballer, when you're taught a tactic, at first you say, right, what have I got to be? I've got to be there. Who's got to be there? If you do it time and time again, then suddenly you do it without thinking. And if I'm going to offer an excuse, whether it's valid or not, I don't know. Maybe Romero hasn't had that training because he's been injured, and now he's a little bit behind the curve with learning the tactics of set pieces. Could be totally wrong. He's played in Italy. He's the best defender in Italy for a season, so he should have a grasp of tactics. But maybe that. But no, it is a bit of a worry. But yeah, hopefully we'll have a bit more training on the pitch and that. And also, I think Romero. I think when Dyer was out, Romero's been playing in two positions, hasn't he? He's playing that sort of central defender, and now he's playing on the right because Dyer's back, which I think it works a lot better. I don't think Romero's good at organising. I think that's more Dyer's game, organising. I don't think Romero's a player to organise.
I'm going to defend Romero here for the Burnley game because he was up against Weghorst for the majority of the game, and Weghorst didn't get a sniff. He didn't get a sniff, and for the goal, Romero went with him. Me's just bigger than him. And this comment here, it was Emerson's man to pick up.
Okay. Yeah.
So then he got there. He was with Ben Mee when Ben Mee went to head it in, but he just couldn't get up high enough. But Romero isn't the biggest, and he absolutely, like I said, Weghorst didn't get a sniff at all. He was good. So if we sneak the odd one in from a set piece, I'm sure it's nowhere near as much as what we probably would have if Romero wasn't there. So
we've certainly got to improve at set pieces. I certainly think that. But again, that's getting that unit to.
This is it. Like if Romero doesn't play, Sanchez probably does, and Sanchez is 2, 3, 4 inches bigger. So you'd imagine he'd be better at set pieces. But susceptible. Yes, but overall, I wouldn't care. Like you've got to play Romero because of his all-round game, and if it means we're smart that we don't give away set pieces, fair enough. But he'll grow into it because he's not small, Romero, but he's quite slight for a central defender.
He's not the man mountain as a centre half. That's probably why he's better as a right-sided than the guy in the middle sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a similar build to maybe Alderweireld and Vertonghen. Neither of them were amazing in the air. That wasn't their game. No. They were better with the ball at their feet. Sanchez is probably better in the air. Same with Rodon. Same with Dyer. I probably would agree that we were more susceptible, but I'm okay with that. The pros outweigh the cons for me.
Like I say, Weghorst didn't get a sniff, and that guy is big. When you see him in the person, I was like, how is that even normal to be that big? Like, he is ridiculous.
and honestly, having lived in Holland, right? I mean, I'm 6'3". I'm a tall guy. In Holland, I felt normal. Like, I genuinely, like, at no point did I think, oh, I'm taller than most people. I was like, oh, like, people are my size. This is great. So yeah, like, I'm a 6'6", I think he is. That is super tall, but he's a very good player. And
That's
you're right.
Crouch size, isn't it? That's Crouchy tall.
Crouch is a bit bigger, I think, but
Yeah.
it's Weghorst is a unit. I mean,
he's not just tall; he's like
a big.
big.
Yeah.
He's just a big man. But yeah, no, I don't have any concerns about Romero really, apart from the fact he is a bit rash at times. But even that, he seems to have calmed down a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully we'll be all right. But back to we still haven't got through the Leeds game. So Tottenham, another manager bites the dust after Tottenham comes to town.
Who are the others?
Will he save Leeds from going down, HG?
Like, I think so to answer Brad's question, I think the Watford manager got sacked after we beat them early in the season. And there might have been one more, maybe Steve Bruce, I think.
Steve Bruce.
We've been involved in 2 El Sacchio derbies, although probably the Leeds game wasn't El Sacchio because there's never any.
Are you suggesting, Brad, that we chose to lose against Man United so that Nuno would get sacked?
Yes.
That's another
I'm
thing.
not saying we chose to lose, but that could possibly be the best result of the season for Tottenham this season. So.
I do think that there was an element of the players not deciding to not turn up and to lose so that Nuno would lose his job. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, but
it was the worst performance I've ever seen. Ever. And it still makes me angry thinking about it now.
All right. Okay, we'll move on, Chan. We'll move on. Look, so Bielsa going, I think Leeds, I understand why they made the decision, but I don't really agree with it. However, the new guy they've got in used to manage here in Austria. So, like, Salzburg have a massive advantage here in Austria financially. The system they have already means that they've got the better players, but it's just... You almost judge Salzburg teams by the manager that they have. How good Salzburg are is based on their manager rather than the players, because the players are always good. And I don't think Jesse Marsch's Salzburg were that great. Yes, he managed Haaland for half a season, so he had him in the team. And yes, obviously that was Champions League time. There's a really famous clip of Jesse Marsch in the Salzburg changing room at halftime of the Liverpool Champions League game. And he didn't know the words, so he starts like half German, half English. It's hilarious. But it's a massive risk. I mean, Bielsa's teams do have they have had issues of getting worse at the end of the season, so maybe it was the right time to do it. But Jesse Marsch is a massive, massive risk. Like, I think Leeds' survival chances depend more on Calvin Phillips and Patrick Bamford than it does on the change of manager.
A lot of players out, haven't they? A lot of players out.
And so, yeah, I don't know what odds Leeds are, but I would imagine that the odds should shorten now that Jesse Marsch has come in for relegation, because there's no real evidence in his career that he knows how to handle that kind of pressure. He struggled at Leipzig. They got rid of him pretty quickly. It's a massive gamble. Like, I know that they've talked about how Marsch, they've been following him for a couple of years and all the rest of it. And he fits what they do, which to be fair, he probably does. He plays similar to Bielsa. But it's a terrible move for Marsch probably as well. Like, I wouldn't want to follow Marcelo Bielsa. The bloke's a god up in Leeds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So he's got so little room for mistakes. But yeah, if you do have a spare quid or 10 or whatever, putting money on Leeds to go down, it's probably a good idea after that decision.
Do a double. Leeds to go down and Everton win the FA Cup, based on the theory that most Spurs players, when they leave, win a trophy.
I mean, they've got Boreham Wood, I think, on Thursday, so that should be a home win for Everton. Oh my gosh! Can you imagine? Does that mean Lo Celso is going to win the Champions League? Right? Like, is that where we are? Oh my gosh!
Oh yeah, I mean, even not Stephen Corker, the other guy, the American guy we sent to Celtic. He's already
Carter Vickers,
yeah. He's already won something. Yeah, Ericsson won something. Trippier won something.
That's what happens. But anyway, on to birthdays. So first on the drum roll, please. First on our birthday list is the the only Fernando Llorente, born 26th of the 2nd, 1985, 66 games and 13 goals. Legend, that guy.
Yep, and
Absolute legend.
55 sub appearances, most likely, something like that. Yeah, we'll always have his hip. He will always have his hip at Man City. That is.
Oh yeah.
That is the Llorente moment.
And then his first lay down to Dele Alli for the goal in Amsterdam.
That's right. Sticking his leg up in the air. Oh, Fernando. It's what is he? 37 now. Wow, that's pretty old.
Yeah.
I'd still sign him.
To be fair, Shan, I wasn't sure that sign was the verb you were going to go for there, so I'm glad you did. I'd still, and I was like, oh, panic.
No.
Yeah, but I'd still sign him too, Shan.
So Llorente is one who is safe. You don't need to worry, HG.
Okay.
Right, drum roll. Johnny Method, 27th of the 2nd, 58, signed as a replacement for Glenn Hoddle in 1987 from Nottingham Forest. Played 568 league games in his career. How many league appearances did he make for Spurs?
About 5. I don't know
what it is.
Not many.
50?
Dave hasn't put the answer on here. So
okay, fine. The best thing about Johnny Method is the fact that his name means with God.
Oh, really?
Like literally, Method is with God. Dutch surnames are the best.
I was going to say they bought a Hoddle replacement because his name sounded like God, which is what Hoddle was.
Method, Dutch, Method. And tell you what, I'm assuming that Keith Browning has looked this up for us because I haven't. If that's the answer, 39. Oh no, John's watching. 12.
12. There we go.
Jesus.
Okay, next one. Eddie King, born 28th of Feb 1914, left back, played one game in 1934.
But what a game! What a game that was.
Mickey Stade.
Mickey still stayed.
28th of the 2nd, 57, fullback, played 15 games between 74 and 77. Yeah. After retiring, went on to be a taxi driver in Harlow. He probably picked you up, HG, after a night out on the
town. Wait, hang on a second. That can be taken in various ways. I don't think I was old enough to be picked up in Harlow, frankly. Either way, I left when I was 11.
Just imagine a guy you're driving going, I was a footballer, me. Yeah, footballer. I used to be a footballer.
You used to be what? Taxi drivers and publicans, right? That was what footballers went on and did. So I've never heard that name before, Shan. So that's quite the find.
Didn't Neil Webb become a postal driver, a postal officer?
Maybe.
Because they used to have a thing on Soccer AM and said, let's have a look at Neil Webb's best delivery. So it showed him delivering letters.
Wow. Neil Webb was a good player,
They did it when they interviewed him. He's actually been interviewed. They did that too.
I can't say the on this days are overly exciting either. On the 28th of February 2010, Tottenham Hotspur played at home against Everton. The final score was Spurs 2, Everton 1. And it was Pavlyuchenko and Modric with the goals and Yakubu with the goal for Everton.
What must have been in that game?
I saw the highlights weirdly today on one of those Twitter pages that does it. Pavlyuchenko's goal, Defoe had gone for the far corner and shanked it, and so Pavlyuchenko slid in and put it in the net. And then I think Modric got one, as you said, Modric, but it was kind of a outside the box, kind of looped over the goalkeeper and went in. It was I don't want to say it was luck, but it was a nice looking goal at least.
Yeah, I don't remember the game. I must have been there though, 2010.
And then the other one. On this day, on the 28th of February 2016, Tottenham Hotspur played at home against Swansea.
Oh, Chadley.
Spurs 2, Swansea 1. Nasser Chadley and Danny Rose with the goals.
Yep.
I must have seen that game as well, but I don't recall it.
I saw the highlights on Twitter today. Like I remember the Danny Rose goal. I couldn't have told you it was that game, but when I was like, okay, but the Chadley one I had no recollection of whatsoever. But yeah. 28th of February. Shame we're not playing today because we'd have won 2-1 at home.
Yeah.
Well, we're playing away, so tomorrow. But anyway, on this day tomorrow, so on this tomorrow day, 1st of March 1995, we won 6-2 in a replay at the Dell. Southampton, FA Cup, substitute Rocket Ronnie Rosenthal scored a famous hat-trick after we were 2-0 down. Can you remember who scored the other 3 goals, HG?
For Spurs?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anderton got the last one, I think. So Anderton, Klinsmann and Barnby.
Anderton, Sheringham and Barnby.
You know what? That game, yeah,
crazy.
I was living in Australia when that game was on, and it would have been on in the morning Australian time. That's before you had Sky or Fox or whatever. And I was making my way to work, walking across the field, looking at my watch, thinking Spurs are actually playing now. I wonder what they're doing. You know, I think it's actually going on right at this minute. And then I got in, and I think I'm not sure whether I phoned my dad or whether I just got the sports on the radio. They used to have the BBC World Service. It might have been BBC World Service. Used to do a 50-minute sports roundup on Australian radio. And I think I put that on, and they sort of said about it. Oh, wow, 6-2. And the guy, my manager, who got me the job, he was a massive Brentford fan. And we used to talk about football. In fact, the first time the first day at work, I had a Tottenham mug. He said, "Oh, you're a Tottenham fan?" "Yeah, I'm a Brentford fan." We spent the first hour talking about football before I even got to mention what I was going to be doing. And yeah, it's really weird, because little did I know that day, some 20 odd years later, I'd be, 1, living in Brentford area, and 2, the job I've recently had, right next door to the Brentford Football Stadium. So it's weird how things turn out.
Yeah, I mean, like Shan, I know you were you born in 95, Shan?
Not until May. This was March.
So I was living in Southampton. I lived in the Southampton area for this game, and I didn't have Sky. I don't know if it was on TV. I think it might have been, but I didn't have it.
I've seen highlights.
I listened to it on Radio 5 Live, I guess it was back then. And I switched off at halftime because we were 2-0 down. I was like, I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous. Spurs are gonna. And so I didn't know anything about it until Grandstand that night. Have you ever heard of that show? It was the highlights were on midweek Grandstand, which is a sports show. And I watched it in my bed, and I had no idea. My mum knew the final score, but I didn't. And so I went absolutely mental, because I genuinely thought we'd lost 2-0, 2-1, 3-1. I had no idea that Spurs had gone on to win that game. But to get for Ronnie to score 2 goals really quickly in the second half, and then to get 4 in extra time, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But
he should have retired after that game, shouldn't he? Really, he was never going to top that.
He did, didn't he? I mean, he might have played, but he didn't do much else for Spurs. But yeah, that's a good omen for tomorrow night. I'm glad that was how many years ago? 95? Bloody hell! It's like 27 years ago. But on March the 1st, that's it. We're going to win by a hatful tomorrow. I can feel it now.
Although we might have to go 2-0 down first.
5th of March 1986, Steve Perryman made his final appearance in a Spurs shirt in a 2-1 defeat at home to Liverpool, live on TV. He made 655 appearances. Could that ever be beaten? And how many goals do you think he scored?
I don't think it's ever going to be beaten. No. Because he was playing at Spurs for what, 17, 18? I mean, he started really young.
I hate to say this, but I saw his debut for Tottenham.
Okay.
Home against Sunderland. He was a number 11. He was 17, and we lost 1-0. So.
But yeah, amount of goals, I know, 60? No, that seems too many.
I'm hoping that John gives us the answer, because it's not on here.
I'd say probably that many. Yeah, 60 sounds a lot, doesn't it?
Like in my head, he was a right back, but I know he played in many other positions before that. That's just what I remember.
Yeah, midfield. Then he went to, when we went down to second division, he was in the old days a sweeper.
Yeah,
and then he went to right back. Yeah.
Wow. I spoke to Steve Perryman last year. That's pretty much all I can really tell you about him. But
the other thing about Steve Perryman is that he said his first is a picture of him playing on Ealing Common, because that was where he got spotted playing for a school team or whatever. And I live opposite Ealing Common, and I've been here for 20 years, never seen a football match played there. So it must have been back in the day when they used to play football on Ealing Common, because they certainly don't play there now. But so I'm interested to get his book just to see that one picture.
Well, we'll talk afterwards. But if you want a signed copy of the book, Brad, I could probably hook you up, because I know someone who's got lots of them. But
brilliant.
Steve Perryman came out to Austria just before pandemic started. To be part of the Austria Spurs group's first ever meeting, and the club flew him out of the club. The group flew him out. They watched a game in Salzburg and had a weekend with him. And so the people here in Austria know him pretty well. When I say I spoke to him last year, he was on we did a Zoom call, and we just got to ask him questions about the game, what he likes now, and what he doesn't, and it's kind of fun. So he's a Spurs legend that I feel like a lot of Spurs players, a lot of Spurs people now don't know too much about, because he's not massively involved in the club like perhaps other players are.
I think he was defensive coach under Ardiles.
Oh yeah, he was I think assistant manager. Yeah, but it's been 20 odd years since he was really involved with Spurs, and that's. I mean, I know he doesn't live too close. He lives down in Devon now, and so it's not an easy journey for him. But still, he's a Spurs legend that the younger generation probably don't know too much about him.
Yeah, especially the amount of games he's played. You don't see that now in any club, let alone Tottenham. So
Middlesbrough tomorrow night live on BBC One in the UK. Am I going? Yes. So.
Shane, can you get COVID and stay home? Come on now.
There's not much chance of me getting COVID now, is there? I'm at home.
Probably not. And have the rules changed? I mean, do you have to stay home?
You don't have to. You don't
there
have
you
to
go.
work,
So, all right. But Shane, you do realise if Spurs lose, it is going to be on you even more now.
Yeah, well, that's a burden I'll have to bear.
We won't be talking about Romero being susceptible at set pieces. It'll be like, Shane, where was she? Figure that out first.
All the tactical analysis. Well, here we see how they're set up. If you look at they're shutting the stand there, so clearly playing that player on side.
I'm half day at work, so I finish at 12:30, and then car sharing with a couple of the East Midlands Spurs guys. So go and pick one up, go and pick another one up from Newark, and then we're off to Borough. So it'll be
take warm clothing. It's bloody freezing there. I went to a game. Well, that game I said I went to earlier, but it's in the Docklands somewhere.
I was at Burnley on Wednesday. It can't be much worse.
Right, fair
enough. Shane, I'll give you a hard time, but secretly I am just jealous. I would love to be going. I mean, I know I'm a lot further away, but any Spurs game is a treat. Even if you lose, it is a treat. So fingers crossed we won't.
We've basically dubbed my car the Wenger bus as well. What could be more exciting than that? So the Wenger bus is heading to Borough, which is great. What do we know about Borough? If I'm honest, not a lot. HG?
Chris Wilder is in charge. That is a big thing, because obviously bringing Sheffield United up 2 divisions, keeping them up. He's clearly a good manager. He's going to be like a Sean Dyche kind of figure, where he'll never really get the credit he deserves because he's English and Northern, as awful as that sounds. So they're a good side. I think top 7, top 8 in the Championship. They've got a chance of getting promotion. They lost at the weekend to the bottom team, so I think there's probably similarities with Spurs in that respect. But as much as it's away from home, it's a Championship team in the last 16 of the FA Cup. If we take it seriously, we should win.
Yeah.
But they are good. We can't underestimate them. It's not like Man City play Peterborough tomorrow night. I think Peterborough are towards the bottom of the Championship. That's a much easier game.
Yeah.
But even then, if we were playing Peterborough tomorrow, I'd be a bit nervous because it's Spurs. And,
I wish we were at Peterborough. It's much closer.
Yeah, there you go.
45-minute drive as opposed to a 2 hours 21. So
I think it's going to be a difficult game tomorrow. I mean, they're 8th, I think.
Yeah. They play 3-5-2, so 2 strikers. The wing backs are super important to them.
Crowd will be behind them. It'll be a cold night up north for Tottenham. We don't seem to do that well. The only thing I will say is that they did beat Man United, and I didn't see the game, but the highlights that I did see, Man United had many chances to finish them off and didn't. And then the goal they got, I think, was a little bit lucky with the penalty decision, maybe, or not penalty decision. The fact that the handball wasn't given. So maybe they had a bit of luck, but you make your own luck. So it's going to be it's going to be difficult. And that's why, Keith Brown in Borough might rest a couple of promotion a priority. Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah, I mean, a cup run will make their life more difficult in the league, and that they do want the Premier League. So, yeah, we can hope, we can dream, but it is a big night. Like, okay, they've had the game at Old Trafford; they got through that. If they got us to a penalty shootout, they'd be happy with that. But yeah, it's.
I hope not. Gee, don't say such things. Honestly,
No, but they would be happy. I wouldn't be, but they would be happy with that. If it.
Well, Tottenham playing well. Tottenham playing like Tottenham can play. We'll win. Simple as that. But if we drop below that level and play like we've seen us play this season, then we're going to struggle. But
I certainly hope we don't go to pens. I can't even watch them on TV. Like, I hide for pens, let alone being there. I couldn't.
What would it be like? What would it be like being a Chelsea or a Liverpool fan yesterday watching that? Because that just went on forever, didn't it? Sort of thing.
Yeah. It was perfect. Like, I tried to get my wife to watch it because it's penalty shootout. This is exciting, and she was not interested at all.
You just couldn't make it up, could you, with Kepa?
No,
exactly.
After refusing to go off a couple of years ago, and then disguise his penalty.
So what is funnier, like an outfield player going in goal or a goalkeeper taking a penalty kick? Like, they're both just awkward and like weird, but yeah, I was thrilled. Absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, I would have liked Rudiger to have missed the penalty though, to give Liverpool the cup. That would have been perfect.
They've won. Sorry.
I feel like Paul Walter knows a lot more about Borough than we do, which is great. Look, it's right. Wilder doesn't really rotate. I've seen someone saying that Tavernier, the midfielder, plays a good player. The fullbacks, I think they had a young kid at fullback at the weekend. I saw someone talk about Jed Spence, but Jed Spence is no longer at Borough. He's on loan at Forest. So he's a Borough player, but he won't be playing. Yeah. Again, any championship side, like even if we were playing Fulham, at Craven Cottage, I'd still think that if Spurs played how they can, that they'll go and win it. We all get a bit nervous about going up north and the wind and the rain and whatever might happen, but we went to Barnsley in a 5th round tie years ago when Ginola scored the worldie. Like, we've got the players to do it, but I just think with no replay, are Borough good enough to get a point? Yes.
Well, that might work in our favour though.
We went on a cold night in the northwest against City a couple of weeks ago. So. Yeah.
But that might work in that extra time and penalties might work in our favour, that we know we've got to win it on the night, rather than thinking when you 1-1, like we played them 2 seasons ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we got the draw, and it's like, okay, we got the draw. We'll beat them at Tottenham.
And that draw was not. We went 1-0 down, and I think Lucas got a header. I mean, Aurier with a brilliant cross, and it just fell onto Lucas's head. But I don't know. Like, I'm nervous because it's Spurs, but it's Spurs. Like, if we play anything like we did at Leeds, we'll win. But the Borough 3 in midfield against Højbjerg and Højbjerg and Winks most likely. That's the key battle, as it always will be. If Spurs get the ball. Our attack will cause them problems, but I don't know. Like, I want to think it's going to be easy, but it's Spurs, so it never will be.
No.
To add to that, they've won 7 straight games at home. Their last defeat at home was the 23rd of November.
Good. I like that. I like those stats because it means they're due for a loss.
I mean, this is Spurs, but yeah. In the Cup, in round 3, they beat Mansfield 3-2. They were 2-0 up, but then Mansfield pegged them back, only for Borough to score the winner in the 5th minute of added time. And then, of course, there was the United game. Former Sheffield United manager Chris Wilder came in early November, so similar to Conte, except he doesn't speak Italian and is called Chris.
But they are the same person. Brilliant. Like, I mean, Chris Wilder at Borough will be. Certainly, if it's not this year, if they don't sneak into the playoffs this year, they'll be one of the favourites to go up next year because he's a really good manager. He's proven that now. So I was kind of surprised he went to Borough. You'd think that there would be a Premier League team struggling, like Leeds, for example. Had he been available, then maybe the Leeds job would have been good for him. But I guess, I don't know. It's if whoever Borough's ex-manager was, I don't know who it was. Was it Warnock? Was he there?
Woodgate was there for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah, Wilder is an issue here because he'll know what to do to get a result against Spurs. And again, like if they get it to penalties, that would be a great result for them because then it is a lottery.
Yeah.
But let's hope we get a couple of early goals and like we did at Leeds. Really,
that'd be nice. That would be
it would be lovely, wouldn't it? Yeah,
it'd be very nice. Do my sanity a lot of good. The worst thing about Burnley was we were right in the corner. So you know how they're like the away fat, like, and then you've got the stand, and it sort of is in the front, and then everyone was stood up, and we were like 16 rows from the front. I couldn't actually see the goal. So when we were attacking the goal, I was literally like, how am I meant to be feeling right now? Because I cannot see a thing. I'm hoping my view's a bit better tomorrow. But Tottenham have no injured players back for the trip to Borough. So Skip, Tanganga, Mora and Bentancur all out still. A possible chance to see a couple of youngsters. We've got Austin, Harvey White, Alfie Devine, Scarlett. They're all on the bench on Saturday with Dane Scarlett getting on for the final few mins. I personally don't think we'll see any of them start, but if we are quite a few goals up, then we could bring them on, couldn't we?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that's when it will happen. If we see them play, it's because we feel comfortable. But even then, is it 5 subs in the FA Cup? I think it might be.
Yeah.
So you might see that, but even if we're 2-0, 3-0 up, we saw it at Leeds. I think he'll give Bergwijn minutes. He'll give Royal came on, didn't he? I think he'll do that. I think he wants to give those first teamers with experience more minutes to build that group. And yeah, if he gets the chance, because we've got 5 subs, then maybe you might see Devine, you might see other players. But
and also he said in the press conference today when they said about bringing youngsters on, he said, "Well, I don't give a gift to any player. They come on because they deserve to come on. So I don't think it'll be a situation of we're up. You might as well have a run, have a kick about. I think and Conte, I mean, he wants to win, doesn't he? He wants to win. We got to hope that. I hope it's a strong team we put out tomorrow because, as you say, we've got another 6 days for the next game. But
I think there's no reason to rotate. Not for like I know it's only been 3 days, but no, we've got to put. I wouldn't be surprised if it's exactly the same 11 that started at Leeds.
Yeah,
I think so as well.
It needs to be the same 11 we started at Leeds, I think. If Reguilón doesn't start, does this tell us that he's back to Madrid or just not recovered from COVID?
Both, neither.
Or Sessignon deserves his spot.
Yeah, maybe. Like that to me is a change that it would be understandable if he goes back to Reguilón. I don't think there's much in it, but as we talked about earlier, like I'd be okay with Ses getting more games. He needs the minutes. He needs to feel comfortable playing with the better Spurs players, and it's all mental with him. So I don't know if it means a great deal, but as we said before, I wouldn't be surprised if Reguilón goes back in the summer. I really wouldn't.
Talk today of Ryan Sessegnon signing a new contract. Is this the club reverting back to 3-4 years ago where they tied young players up before their current deals get too short? Also talk of him actually taking less money to sign, which is interesting.
It would be interesting. Brad, what do you think?
I like the idea that we're keeping on to our players because I think he's got a lot of talent there. I'm not so sure I like the idea of him signing for less money. That seems a bit of a cop out from Tottenham's point of view. We really like you, Ryan, but we'll pay you less, mate. Sorry. Signing a new contract, signing him to the club, that will give him confidence. But signing him to a new contract and saying we're giving you less money, Ryan, that won't, that will dent his confidence. But
is Charlie Kane his agent? That's what I'd be thinking.
He's on. He earns more than Matt Doherty. He's on 55k a week.
I'm not really worried about what he earns compared to others. I just think that what kind of agent or any even if it was a parent, at no point would you say, oh yeah, no, you get an extra couple of years, but you lose a bit of money by doing so. I can't believe that's true. I just can't. But he signed, I think, a 5-year deal plus with an option for an extra one when we bought him. So he's still got ages left, 3.5 years. So I think if I'm Sessegnon, I'm not tying myself down for another 5 years because you may not become a first team player at Spurs really. So I think maybe he'll get a pay rise because that seems logical to me. And maybe it will go from it'll be a 4-year contract, maybe with an extra one or an option. So he'll get an extra year added on top, maybe 2. But the pay rise is why he would do it. Otherwise, there'd be no reason for either side to do it.
No.
So I think that, I don't know if he needs it. But again, if Reguilon goes and we want to show commitment to him and we want to show him that he's wanted, and Conte wants him, then a pay rise is a great way of doing that.
And I also think with what Conte was saying in his presser was that, it's okay having young players and bringing young players on and building your team on young players, but you've got to have the experienced ones alongside them. So I think that'll be interesting in the transfer market in the summer to see who we do sign, because in the past we buy players that are young and have got a sell-on value, which as a supporter I hate, because the whole reason I'm a supporter is because it's a football club. I want to see us win football matches, not because I want to make money by selling our players 10 years down the track or whatever it is. So be interested in that one. But building for the future. We've been building for the future for the last 10 years.
Yeah, we have.
Talking of building for the future.
Well, I don't mind him. We talk about that 16-17 team, and I've said it a lot on here. Like, a lot of those players were signed 3-4 seasons before we got that good. So, if Sessegnon, if he feels at home at Spurs, right, and now again, he signed in 2019, like Dombele and all the others. He's had, even though he went to Hoffenheim, he's had a fair few managers at Spurs. He didn't really suit what we were trying to do in any other system, but now we've got wing backs. It kind of does suit who he is. So if Conte wants him, again, if I'm Sessegnon, I'm playing for a world-class manager. Maybe I'm training and not playing as much as I want, but I'm at a massive club with a world-class manager who wants me around. I'm not going to get loaned out again. Then there's going to be an incentive for him to extend his deal. But he's got 3 years left. And if he's on good money already, I mean, if I was his agent, I might be tempted to say, you know what? No, we'll wait a year, because when you've only got 2 years left, then maybe another team will want you. Maybe it's a gamble, no matter what, isn't it? Because maybe he doesn't get to play that often, and a year from now, no one will be paying him what we pay him already. So. I just think that the best solution, Spurs get to time down for an extra year or 2 because that protects where we are. He gets a pay rise because that's his leverage. So he's not going to do it unless you give him one. Maybe he doesn't play. Maybe he doesn't start 30 times a season for Spurs and never does. But the homegrown part of him means that he's extremely valuable to have around. It does.
So talking of loans, Brian Hill played almost full game, being subbed in added time as Valencia won away at Mallorca 1-0. He got booked. Brian Hill loves a booking, it seems. The Celso played 63 minutes as Villarreal beat Espanyol 5-1. They were 4-1 up at the time. And Dombele played the whole 90 minutes. What is it with that? But how can he all of a sudden play 90 minutes?
No, it's because the manager's not taking him off. That's all it is. You can be fit enough to play 90 minutes, but if the manager decides, Son has been taken off a lot recently, that doesn't mean he can't do 90 minutes. It just means that, Bergwijn's getting minutes instead. I don't know. Dombele, obviously, I think Lyon lost, didn't they?
Yeah,
so he played 90 minutes. His team lost. You want him to play well there. I do. I'd like him to play 90 minutes and for Lyon to win games, because that will help Spurs. If he's rubbish there, that doesn't help Spurs in any way.
No.
So as much as it would be annoying to see him turn on the tap and be amazing, like we know he can do, if Conte doesn't want him, we still want him to be good. So we can sell
more money for
him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Keon Atete scored Cheltenham's goal in the 2-1 defeat at home to Crewe. 2 goals in 2 games, 8 in all comps for the season. He seems to be one to watch. And Troy Parrott played the whole 90 mins for MK Dons. Didn't score.
Forgot about Troy Parrott.
However, they did tweet to say Troy Parrott's been sensational. So
I've said it plenty of times. Of all of our younger strikers, whether it's Atete and Parrott and Scarlett and even, Devine. Devine is probably, I think, the most talented and the most likely to really make it at Spurs. But I like Parrott. I know his goal scoring record, at Millwall and at Ipswich and now at MK Dons has not been great. It's not been, but I mean, I actually because I'm that type of guy. I looked. He's 20, just turned 20 at the start of this month. So I looked to see what Kane's record was like at a similar age, right? Because Kane hadn't played too many Premier League games, or certainly not for Spurs. I think he played 3 or 4 for Norwich. Like Kane's record at that level is better, but Parrott scored a couple of international goals. So, like, I think Parrott really does have the quality that he could be. I mean, granted, just a squad player at Spurs. He may never be the Kane player. I'm not suggesting he could be, but I think that talent-wise, it's there. It's just going to be dedication, and that's where Kane. We know how professional he is. We know he puts everything into his career, and obviously there are plenty of stories about Parrott not being that type of character. But if he gets his head down and really works on it, again at just 20, like maybe he does a year in the Championship next season. If MK Dons get promoted, he stays there another year. It doesn't hurt Spurs for that to happen.
Yeah.
The thing with Parrott, which worries me more than anything else, is that his contract is running, and so like he would need to sign a new deal at Spurs. But I do think of, as I said, Etete, Parrott, and Scarlett. None of them are ready for being that backup striker or the second striker that we need.
Right.
They're all two years away, maybe. But if you can get them progressing, and maybe we sell them on. Maybe we get 5 million, 10 million for them, but they have to be playing regularly. And Parrott has done that this season for MK Dons, and they're winning games. So, I guess I hope it continues.
Yeah. So, going to do the last football prizes thing, and then we'll come on to predictions.
All right. Let me find it for you. 1 second.
Remind me what it is, HG.
It's the Jurgen Klinsmann thing. Hello, I'll do it for you, Shane, if you want.
There we go.
Football prizes are our sponsors. We love them very much. But as you see, the competition running now is for a Jurgen Klinsmann shirt, signed, framed, Spurs shirt, 99 tickets, $4.95. If you run with the code, which is PODS10, if you enter that in, you'll get a 10% discount. That is, as I said, till tomorrow night, just before the Spurs game starts. I don't know how many tickets have been sold, but if it's less than 99, you'll have a better chance of winning. So, go and buy yourself a raffle ticket or a football prizes ticket to win that shirt. There are other Spurs-related items on their website. You can go there, and that POD10 code is valid for all of them. If you become a member of our little Patreon group, it's just £3 a month. If you do that, you get lots of added extras, such as the chance to talk to most of us during the week. And I don't know how exciting that is for people, but people like it. We've got about, I think, 75 Patreons who are part of the group. Come and join us. I hope that we're all smart. And if you do that £3 a month, then you'll get a 3 for 2 deal on buying tickets with football prizes. But we've had a few winners by doing this, and it's a lovely prize to win. Jurgen Klinsmann, number 18.
Thanks, HG.
Sorry.
Okay.
I've got to try and get rid of it again. How do I get rid of it? Where is it? There we go. Hide. Perfect.
Okay, before we wrap up, because we've been going for 2 hours now, which is crazy on a Monday. Predictions, guys. Put your predictions in the comments. HG, what are you thinking?
If I'm negative, we win, and if I'm positive, we lose. So, how about penalties? Sit on the fence a bit. No, Spurs will win 2-1. It will be close. It will be a nail biter, but 2-1 Spurs.
Brad?
Oh, I hate predicting Spurs results. I really, really do, because I'm a naturally pessimistic supporter. But then I predict that we'll win because I want to, show confidence. But whenever I do that, we lose. I don't know. I'll go. Whilst this podcast has been going on, I was thinking about the game, and I was thinking 2-1 Spurs, but I think it'll be after extra time. I think we'll be 1-0 up, and they'll score an injury time. It'll go to extra time, and then I don't know. We'll score a goal, and then we'll be under all sorts of pressure in the last 10 minutes, and it won't be easy. It will not be pleasurable. But I'll be in a pub having beers, and it'll be nice and warm. So
Shan, what do you think?
I'd rather be at the game, to be honest. So,
I mean, I've got the Wenger bus to look forward to, and Shane has said that he has promised good tunes. So I'm entrusting the music.
Well, that depends on the ages of the people in the Wenger bus, doesn't it? Because if I was in the Wenger bus, I might not be thinking it would be good tune. So,
I mean, the requests have been Aqua and the Wenger Boys. So,
oh my gosh,
it could be a good drive. But yeah, no, I'm gonna be optimistic because I usually am, and go 3-1 Spurs.
All right, that's what we want to hear.
Potentially after extra time.
You're optimistic, but you are still Spurs after extra time. There we go.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. It's been emotional. And yeah, hope to have you back again soon, Brad.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I always enjoy coming on the show. Definitely. I miss having a beer tonight, but doesn't matter.
Well, Brad, I think what you told me before we started, you've got a bit more time on your hands now. So
I have indeed. So yes,
we would love to have you back on.
To be fair, the only reason I didn't have a beer tonight is because I'm going to the pub tomorrow. So I thought, I'll give it a rest for one night. Otherwise, I probably would have had a beer tonight because no work in the morning. So so it's great.
All right, well, enjoy your rest. You probably deserve it. And
thank you very much, HC, and thank you, Shane, for having me on here tonight.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. And HG,
don't forget to click like and subscribe to this wonderful channel, please.
Thanks, Brad. You're doing our job for us, which is good because we haven't done that. I don't have a clue how many likes we've got, but we've got 95 if you're watching. So if you could click like and subscribe, that'd be great. Yeah,
follow us all on Twitter. We're all on it.
Oh yeah,
Shan's probably better at it than the two old farts. But sorry, Brad, I don't know if that's true. I know it's true about me.
I don't tweet a lot. No, I do. Yeah, occasionally, but I do a lot of retweeting. But yeah.
But it's been fun.
I've just seen this, and I'm a bit confused.
Steve, we missed Ivor. He's had a weekend jolly up in Scotland, but we need to get him back on the show as well. Steve, you're not listening probably, but if you watch this, get back on the show, my friend. Yeah. And on that note, HG, thank you as ever for joining. No problem. Brilliant. It's donut day tomorrow. Sorry, pancake day. Donuts here. Yes. And on that note, come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you mother Spurs.